As we mentioned, there's investor skepticism about the effectiveness and distribution of AstraZeneca's COVID vaccine from an analyst at Silicon Valley Bank. Earlier, an AstraZeneca executive spoke about the claim with Bloomberg TV's Alex Steele and Guy Johnson. Take a look.
We're also surprised to see the data over the weekend coming in. And you can imagine that the scientists of Oxford, as well as our own scientists, are now looking into it. What can cause it? There are theories that you're priming the immune system with a relatively low dose, and then if you give the full boost dose 1 month later, that will be more effective. But this is clearly one of the elements the scientists and the clinical developers still need to sort out.
So then, do you not know? I mean, is that what my takeaway is? Because some of the criticism is that you guys are just highlighting the really good data, but we don't actually know what that 90% efficacy rate was part of. There were fewer people in that study. We want to know more about them, and you don't seem to have it. What's going on there?
I think it's the most important piece is, irrespective of the dosing, if you get vaccinated, it's clear that the vaccine is safe and has an effectiveness of 100%, irrespective of the dosing. So that's incredibly important to remember. And of course, we will have that discussion with the FDA as well. And then we have to say it's still speculation about what can cause the high efficacy in this low dose and high dose regimen. It's exciting. But we simply don't know what is driving it exactly, and be assured that our scientists and clinical developers will do everything to give an answer on that sooner than later.
You talked about the FDA there, so let's just talk about what is happening in the United States. The current regime that's being tested in the United States is not the more effective one. It's not the half full. Are you going to switch the trial in the US to the half full? And does that mean starting a whole new trial, or can you do that kind of midway through the trial that you're currently running?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. First of all, in the course of this week, we will discuss the data with regulatory agencies across the world, in the UK, in Europe, but certainly also with the FDA in the United States. And based on that feedback, we will adjust our clinical trial if the FDA is agreeing with our approach. We still need to remember that the trial in the United States is still running. It's a very large trial. We're trying to get more than 30,000 participants in that trial. As we speak, we have now roughly 11,000 participants in the trial. So if we need to include an extra arm in that trial, we still have more than enough time to do that.
As I'm sure you're aware, Ruud, one of the analysts over at Leerink had really critical things to say about the trial. One of them is that, look, it's never going to get approved in the U.S. They said in the note that you tried to embellish their results by highlighting a reported 90% efficacy in a relatively small subset of subjects. The suggestion by the investors that the small sample given the lower priming dose was evidence of superior efficacy only brings to discredit the program. We regard the data disclosure as premature and insufficient, and like I mentioned, goes on to say it's never going to get approval in the U.S. What's your response?
I think those comments are quite harsh. We need to realize that the study has been executed by top scientists from Oxford as well as AstraZeneca. We will publish later in the week the full data set. So they are working around the clock in order to give full visibility about the different cohorts we have studied. And I think it's far too early to speculate about how regulators will react on that. Certainly the FDA, once again, in the United States, we are running a very special trial with more than 30,000 participants. So let's be a bit more patient and see how the FDA will react before making such harsh statements.
AstraZeneca executive Ruud Dobber earlier today on Bloomberg TV.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.